Hello everybody, my name is Yuri, and welcome back to another brand new tier list making. I had a lot of fun doing the Dark Souls one. I'm getting ahead of myself here, don't mind me. Um, I had a lot of fun doing the Dark Souls 3 one, so I decided that I wanted to do the Bloodborne one because Bloodborne is my favorite game ever made. Yes, this is very accurate. It's so accurate that the PlayStation 5 behind me, the first game that I installed was Bloodborne, so I think I know what I'm talking about. A little bit, though, just a little bit. So we're going to be going through these just like the other one, and I'm going to be naming all of them. I don't know if I'm going to give them a nickname because a lot of them are. I'll try my best. I'll do that. How about that? I'll just try my best. But anyway, regardless, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to do this. This is probably going to be a longer video, just like the other one, because there are either the same or more more than Dark Souls. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be very interesting. So without any further ado, let's get into it, okay? So the first one that we have on this tier list is the Blood-Starved Beast, or Mr. Flappy Face. As always, I'll put a bigger picture on them so you don't see this little tiny bitty. The Blood-Starved Beast is a creature that is on all fours, who is poison damage and also a poison aura. So just being next to them will cause you to get poisoned as well. It's very fast. That's the thing about a lot of these bosses, is that they're very fucking fast, because Bloodborne is a very fast-paced game. Which is good. I love that. I love that about Bloodborne. It's very fast-paced, and it makes me like, ooh, stay on my toes, stay on my little tippy toes. But as a boss, I wouldn't consider Blood-Starved Beast to be hard. A lot of people, I remember when I first was playing Bloodstarved. When I first was playing Bloodborne, a lot of people were saying how Blood-Starved Beast was super fucking hard. It was difficult, it was annoying, and just like all these things about him. And I personally didn't find him to be that hard. So this might be just me, just like, obviously with my own opinion, of course. But I don't think Blood-Starved Beast was that hard of a boss. Is he memorable? Yes, because he looks fucking cool. Like, his design is very, like, I know what I'm looking at. Like, I know what that boss is. He's got the flappy face, he's got the claws, he's on all four legs most of the time. And he's a poison boy. So he's very memorable in that regard, is that there's a lot of things that leave an impression on you. But as a boss to fight, I would go C, because he's just not that hard. He's not that hard of a boss. I don't know why there's an E ranking. I don't even know how to rank that compared to D and F, but I'm just going to leave that alone for now. I don't think, just like Dark Souls, I don't think any of these, out of respect, not out of spite, out of respect for the bosses, I don't think any of them will be F, because I don't actually think that they're that bad. But regardless, we're moving on. Cleric Beast. Cleric Beast is technically the first boss that you should fight, quote-unquote, in Bloodborne. The other first one would be Father Gascoigne, which we will come to later. But the Cleric Beast is this giant beast, I guess, with one big-ass arm, and then the other one is smaller. And he's very slow, but he's also pretty quick, strong, and a beefy boy, covered in fur and all that. He's not... Oh, what do I say about this guy? Like, he's cool. Like, he's definitely a cool design. He looks badass. All of these bosses are badass to look at because they're very distinct from one another. There's almost... Let me look at this list right here. Bloodletting Beast, really. Yeah, none of these are actually anything, like, too common, you know? None of them are very the same. They're all different. I mean, of course, they're all different bosses, but then again, God of War 1 was the thing. But regardless, they're all different and they're all very cool. But anyway, getting back to the matter of fact, the Cleric Beast is a really great first boss. I loved... He's gonna go in an A, because he's a great introduction as to, like, what kind of bosses you're going to expect, like, the scale, if you would. Because Dark Souls is really good at that. And the fact that Bloodborne, even though it is a Souls game, like, we didn't know if that was going to be, like, a thing, if they were going to keep that. But Cleric Beast is a huge, thumbs up, like, don't worry, there's still a lot of them. There's still big boys that you're going to fight, so I'm very, very into that. He gets an A for a good, solid tutorial boss, in a way. But then again, you can easily miss him if you were to just go down the path and find another path. Because I missed the Cleric Beast the first playthrough I did. And then the second one I did, I found him. I was like, oh shit, I forgot. I didn't even know that this was a thing. But a solid A. A solid A for a first boss. Dark Beast Parl, or the Electric Puppy. Even though he looks nothing like a dog, the fact that he's very hairy and is all fours is why I call him a puppy. But Dark Beast Parl is an electrified, four-legged monstrosity, if you would. And he has close range along with long range attacks, especially when it gets into his second or third phase. Yeah, third phase. Along with a giant like AoE effect. But regardless, I don't know. He didn't seem super special to me. I love how he looked, but that was about it. The fight was kind of whatever. It was a little... I feel like the reason why I'm saying that is because like his fight, the way that I play with the Saw Cleaver, which is a very close-up, non-ranged weapon in some ways, he's up. He's taller than you. If you swing, you miss his head. You miss his body. You have to go for his arms or his legs, which is not as effective, of course. But at the same time, obviously, if you know how to play the game, then you extend the weapon, then you use it that way, but it's not as strong. But with that out of the way, I don't really think of him as... he's not a boss that I come to a lot. I know how to fight him, and I've killed him many times, but he's not a boss that I would consider super fun to fight. I like him. He's a very cool design, but he's just not someone that I go back and fight over and over and over again. In that case, he's going to go to C. He's going to go to C for that. For the kind of the same reason as the Bloodstar Beast was easy for me to fight, and he wasn't that hard of a challenge. Dark Beast Power is just a boss that I don't like fighting. He's cool. I fight him literally just for the spectacle. I don't really care about the fight. Which is like, I don't know. Judge me if you want. Father Gascoigne, Mr. Beast himself. Father Gascoigne is the other first boss. If you don't fight the Cleric Beast, he's the first boss that you fight. That's how this game goes. You don't progress without fighting Father Gascoigne. Or however you say his name. I don't know how to say a lot of these. Clearly by my Dark Souls 3 boss tier list, according to my friends. But Father Gascoigne is great. I love him. The only issue that I have with Father Gascoigne is that he gives off this impression of he's a hunter, much like you are. And he transforms into a beast, like a fucking werewolf, in his second form. Well, third form. I wish I could too. You technically can. I know you technically can. But it's not the same. And everybody who's played Bloodborne, or at least has seen Father Gascoigne, knows what I'm talking about. You can get the Beast Claws, yes, and they're fine. I actually really love using the Beast Claws. They're a lot of fun. But you can get the runes. I believe, yeah, the runes, the moons that you apply to yourself, kind of like the rings in Dark Souls. Or the talismans in Elden Ring, for those of you who know about that. But yeah, you apply those, but for Father Gascoigne, he just is able to transform into this monster from a human state. And I wish I could too. I wish I could do that. Like transform, even if it was like for 20 seconds, not even, like 10 seconds, I can transform into a beast and then wreak havoc on whatever boss. I get it, that would be pretty overpowered depending on how they do it. But I wish I could do that. That would be so fun. And the fact that he shows that, he's a great fight, by the way. Like I'm just talking about like the theming of him and like how I think that he was handled. The fight itself was a lot of fun. I love fighting human-sized bosses because it requires a lot more skill, because more than likely they can dodge and you can't always just hit them all the time. But anyway, he was great. He's awesome. A little trick. He's a little bit of a trickster in the game, even though the game never explicitly tells you that you can transform into a beast. Much like Father Gascoigne. But still, he's a great first boss. I just wish that I could transform into one as well, because that would be so much fun. That would be super cool. Garamond, the first hunter. Yes, the cripple. Or, quote-unquote, the cripple. Father guy's going. I was talking about him. Garriman is the big boss man of the hunter's dream. He's in charge of the facility, if you would, and he is like the big mama jamba. He is the final boss of the game if you don't do a specific set of things for something else. I'm just gonna say that. I know Bloodborne is 2015, 8 years old now, but still, I don't want to give any spoilers because this game is phenomenal and a lot of people still have yet to play it. But Garriman is an amazing boss. Super fucking cool. He is a trickster in the same regard that, like, he's in a wheelchair this entire time, and then all of a sudden he has a fucking scythe and he can stand, which one of those is a lot more different than the others. But regardless, it's still really fun. He has a lot of range because he has a gun and he's got like straight up, I don't even know what to call them, but he's got one attack that he swings and just the floor, or the like a shockwave attack. There we go. A shockwave attack that just like goes across and can, I believe, one-shot you if you were not high enough level to fight him, or you're just unlucky. Super cool. It takes skill, because like as soon as you master Garriman, he's a really easy fight, but you have to master him. A lot of times you can get very lucky, but like knowing his attacks, knowing like what is going to happen, and knowing exactly how to handle him at every single stage that he's at, that's different. That makes it fun. That makes it like super fun because he has a lot of moves. A lot of them a little repetitive, but still, like he's got a lot of moves. He is he's solid S. I fucking love fighting Garriman. He's super fun to fight. Mikolash, host of the nightmare, the coward, if you would. Well, yeah, I call him the coward. Fuck him. Fuck that bitch. But Mikolash is, in a weird way, it's also a deceptive boss fight, because in the beginning of the boss fight, he's running away, and I had the unfortunate pleasure, if you would, of fighting Mikolash without having him run into his side room where you actually 1v1 him. Granted, there's the little puppets, but whatever. But I literally had to dwindle him to half health running after the bitch. That first time I played Bloodborne, that was my first experience with Mikolash, and it's tainted me. And to be fair, he sucks. He's annoying. As soon as you catch up to him and you swing at him, he teleports away like a coward. Until you take him into a side room where you fuck him up some more, and then he teleports again to a different part of the map where he runs away some more, and then you have to cock block him into another room. You following me? You following me? But that, and then you 1v1 him, a door closes if you can, because there is a way to stop him before getting into the door. You just have to get very lucky. But regardless, you have to 1v1 him, and he's a magic. He's an arcane build. His magic attacks are fucking insane. He will and can one-shot you every fucking time he can, which is almost every one of his attacks. So he's annoying to fight because he can one-shot you almost every time. He runs away. That's his primary boss fight. And to be fair, he's just not, he's just, I just don't like him. I just don't like Mikolash. He's annoying. He's getting a D. He's going to be probably the only D in this boss arena, because I honestly hate him. Moving on. Oh, Master Lagarius. Ah, yes. Oh, I had to crack my neck to get ready for this talk. But Master Lagarius, or Martyr, how do you say that? It's very blurry on my screen, even though it's my screen. Martyr. Whoever can pronounce that, I apologize, because I can't. Lagarius. I have a video on him. Like, in the beginning of my YouTube channel, I don't know about how beginning, but like in the beginning of my YouTube channel, I have a video specifically dedicated for this boss fight, because I just didn't know how to fight him. And now I kind of do, even though he's a pain in the ass. But he is a long-ranged, close-ranged boss fight that involves melee along with magic. He's got magical red skulls that chase you and explode, and can summon bigger skulls to kill you immediately, along with having a giant fucking scythe that he just goes to town on you like he's cutting grass. And it's not, fighting him again, I get the boss fight is kind of cool. Not close to my favorite at all. After being tainted with like 2 hours of trying to kill him and not being able to kill him and finally killing him. He's not super fun. Like his swords that he summons and it goes everywhere is annoying because then that just like limits my movement because I have to hide behind somewhere. Otherwise I'm going to die from a projectile that I don't see coming. He's very fast. You can parry him, but his second form deflects bullets, which is not that bad as long as you know how to parry. As long as you know how to parry, then you're fine. That's not a huge issue. So like that's not even something I shouldn't even brought that up. But regardless, I did. So you're welcome. But he's a cool dude to look at. The item that you get after you kill him lends to a secret, which I loved. I loved when I found out that secret. I'm not telling you guys because either you know already or people don't know, and I like that because you gotta find out yourself. Get yourself a PS4 for like $200. But regardless, Martin Ligarius is pretty cool. He's a C because I just don't like him. Personally, I don't like him because of my first experience with him. But I can totally understand how someone can enjoy his boss fight because it's a spectacle. It's a fucking spectacle. I cannot lie. It is very cool. One Reborn, the One Reborn, the first grafted of the Soul series. I don't want to say that because I have not played all of Dark Souls 2, so I could be wrong. But anyway, it is Bloodborne's version of the grafted. It is a conglomeration of body parts that has, for some reason, a singular torso and head and arms that are like the boss that just dangle in the air. And he has magic attacks that spill from the sky. He has a bullshit AoE attack that covers the entirety, well, it feels like, the entirety of the fucking floor. The floor of the arena. Which is awesome. It's really great. And then they have witches that heal him, I believe, or give him power. I always kill them first, so I don't actually know what they do. But regardless, you kill them so they don't heal him or give him buffs. And then after you kill the witches, which if you don't know about that, then I guess that would make the boss fight way harder. But I feel like you would pick it up because you would see the purple ball explode on him, and then he would get something. And then you don't want that. But as a boss fight, he is gross to look at. I don't like him. Because getting up close and personal with him is a little difficult because he has literal legs for days. He can attack you on every angle. There's not a single angle that you are not safe from him from. You will always take damage. I don't know a single person who could probably, I mean obviously you can if you're good at the game. I'm not. But I don't know a single person who could actually like not take a no-hit damage from him because he just his attacks are bullshit. Excuse me. His attacks are just annoying. He's a C for me as well, because he's just not fun to fight as well. He's gross. Some people are into that. I get it. I'm not. That's just not me. But he's okay. He's definitely okay. He's a plot point boss. He's not optional. He's a plot point boss that leads to basically like the end of the game. And it's not that bad. He's not that bad of a boss. The Shadows of Yarhnam, which ironically enough, if you play the game, you realize that these guys show up later as just normal dudes, which I think is pretty funny. But at the same time, I also think is genius because by the time you get there, you're that much stronger. You're like way stronger as a character. So killing them is like, oh, either they're weak or I'm just really strong, which is like, that's up to you to determine what you want to say it as. But as a boss fight, I do like it. It's like spatial awareness, like overload, because there's 3 of them. 2 of them are one long distance, 1 mid-range, 1 close range. But then the mid-range one is also close range. And then when you get to the second phase, all of them are long range, or mid-range, whatever. It's consistently always changing. You have to just like adapt always to this boss fight because there's 3 of them until you kill one, obviously, one by one. But I like it. I actually do like this boss fight a lot. It's super annoying because usually I always play it alone because that's just how I play Bloodborne. So playing this solo is very frustrating, but I also love it. It always is like a triumph of the human spirit whenever I'm able to 1v3 these bastards. When they clearly have an advantage over me. Being there's 3 of them. But it's still pretty cool. Not everyone's boss, I get it. And not even my favorite boss. But just like that, I 1v3'd these guys is a really satisfying feeling. I do like that a lot. Vicar Amelia. Beast Woman. I don't know, actually. I mean, yeah, the Beast Woman. That's exactly what she is. She is a woman, which I don't remember any of the lore of her for, that has a golden pendant in the beginning of the cutscene that she either absorbs or something, and then she transforms into Vicar Amelia. I will post pictures, of course. And she is very, very strong. For whenever you fight her, she's very fucking strong. It's not like Elden Ring where you can like go to a bunch of catacombs and tunnels and then fight her. You can't really, unless you farm for souls. You can't really do that. You just go and kill her. But anyway, she is really cool. I actually really love how she looks. She is much like the Cleric Beast, except a lot more elegant in a way. She's a lot more properly beastified, if you would. And then the Cleric Beast is a little, like, malformed, because he's got, like, one skinny-ass arm and then one fucking honker of an arm. Which is pretty cool, though. She has a healing attack. She has a healing ability, which sucks. So get your mist ready for everybody who goes up against her. But she's pretty standard. She's much like Cleric Beast in where she just swings at you. You know, she stomps the floor, she gets mad, she screams at you a lot, and then she just tries to slam down and kill you. So it's a boss fight much like Cleric Beast, except it's a lot more elegant to look at because she's just prettier in a way, in a beast form way. She's pretty cool. The Witch of Hemwick. Now, this is an optional boss. Not super optional if you know what the prize is after you kill her. But, regardless, still optional. She is... I don't really have a lot of good things to say about her. Yeah, no, I don't. She's just going in D. There's 2 of her. The game kind of, like, teases you with one of them. Because you immediately see her. Her gimmick is that she disappears. She literally disappears, and then you have to run literally within feet of her for her to reappear so that you can attack her. That's the gimmick. That's the gimmick of the fight. And then after you kill one of them, you realize, oh shit, there's a second one. And then you have to deal with the fact that, 1, there's a second one, and 2, she can resurrect the first one that you killed. And then 3, you have to be aware of her grab attacks, because she has magic that she can shoot at you and then grab you for like literally for a solid 5 seconds, where she can, if you're lucky, you get shot from far. But if you're unlucky and get like right up to her and you get shot, she literally has a grab attack that she rips your face off. You can survive that. It's not incredibly deadly, but it still sucks to look at. And then you also have the chance, if you play the game normally, then you have the chance of getting these, what I can only describe as giant shadow wooden creatures, because when I attack them, they sound like I'm hitting wood. But anyway, there's like 3 or 4 that can spawn at a time. And then you also have to deal with them along with the bosses, because that's super fucking cool. So that's fun. But overall, not a super fun boss fight. It's always annoying whenever I have to do it, especially when I start a new game. Because, like, I know the item that I get is very, very valuable. And then having to kill them is the annoying part. Because getting to them as well is a fucking pain in the ass. But a D. Not a fun fight. The Amygdala. The Mr. Cthulhu of the game. The Cthulhu boys. The Cthulhu lads, if you would. Put them with a cigar, smoking a cigar. But this is an optional boss as well. This entire area is entirely optional, let alone the boss. But the Amygdala is, I was gonna say Greater Will, but that's Elden Ring. But basically the Greater Will of this game, and these guys are like the holders of that, or something, like the presence of that Greater Will, of that overarching evil. that this land has. Like these guys are like a huge component of it because they're everywhere. They're literally everywhere. They're on buildings. They're at the beginning of the game. Well, they're like a little bit in the beginning of the game. After you get to the cathedral ward, they're like one right outside the door. And then if you get enough insight, you can actually see it. And then you realize they're just literally everywhere. Literally everywhere. But for a fight, disregarding lore, for a fight, he's annoying as well because the head, of course, is the most valuable. It's the critical point to hit him, and it is just out of the reach of the saw cleaver. So you need a longer weapon to easily hit them, because if you can go for the arms as well, but he swings them like crazy, and then the legs are reinforced, so you are going to take a long time killing him if you use the legs. But that's still a way to do it. But as a boss fight, it's super cool to look at. He's super cool to fight because his attacks are pretty sweet. He literally rips off 2 of his arms to get extra range to swack you, which is pretty badass in metal, if you ask me. And he's just a cool boss to look at. Like, much like a lot of these, he's just a really cool boss to look at. And I love that. I always love a good boss that I can just like you are just super cool to look at, you know? Like, I love that. I love to see that. So overall, he would go for a B for spectacle and just for being cool. Truly. The fight itself is kind of okay. He's super long range and super close range, so you just have to be careful about that. But overall, pretty cool. Pretty cool. The Celestial Emissary. I said that right. This is basically a bigger version of the aliens that you find in the game, period. It's literally just a bigger version of that. There's nothing super special about it. I believe they do the exact same attacks. He's just bigger. And if you find him way later, if you go fight him way later in the game, because you do get the key way later in the game, but then you can continue the game without having to go there. And then if you go back, he's super easy. He's like super easy, because he's just a big boy of the little aliens. The only thing about this boss fight is that there's like, I can only say 10. Like, there are 10 of these little bastards running around after you, along with the big Papa Smurf chasing you as well. So that's like what you have to be aware of. But overall, it's okay. It's nothing too special. It's literally just a big version of the alien. It's okay. It's okay. Ebrietas, Daughter of the Cosmos. Now, she is disgusting to look at. However, her design is fucking cool. I love her design. Just because of just how she looks. I'll put up with the pictures, of course. But you have to agree, there's some like horrific Cthulhu Lovecraftian horror behind Ebrietas, like straight up Cthulhu monster. And I love that. I really, really love her design because it's just like, what the hell am I looking at? And I love that. None of these other bosses, for the most part, make me feel that way, except for a few of them, which I will talk about later. But still, like, oh my god, it's so amazing. It's just so amazing. Honestly, I love her. I love Ebrietas. The boss fight itself is a little annoying because she does Frenzy, and anybody knows about Frenzy, it's just a pain in the ass to deal with. But overall, it's an okay boss fight, but the design is phenomenal. Which is why I'm going to give it a B. Much like the Amygdala, the spectacle alone is enough to warrant a higher ranking because of just how fucking badass she looks like. If you can even call that a she. Even, I know it says daughter, but what you don't. Murgo's Wet Nurse. Now, this is a creature that has no face or body, I would assume, but it has arms and wings because that's cool. Wings are cool. I don't actually know a lot about Margot's Wet Nurse, lore-wise. All I know is that she has 6... Yes, she has 6 curved swords. I don't know what to call them. Scimitars, I believe. Thankfully, there's no bleed damage in this game, to my knowledge, anyway. Yes, because it's Bloodborne. That'd be kind of ridiculous to have bleed damage. But anyway. Actually, it makes sense. But she is a creature that is able to clone herself, along with having magical abilities to, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't want to say blur your vision, but like cancel your vision, because there's a part of her boss fight where she completely darkens the entire room, and there are a bunch of clones that just keep coming and attacking you from literally every single direction, and they're all clones except for the, of course, the original one, and you just have to kind of find her or just deal with the length of that attack until the fog goes away, and then you're able to attack her again. It's a really cool boss fight. She looks badass as hell. Do I like fighting her, though? Do I like fighting her is the question. And the answer is not really. She's really cool to look at, and I love the idea of her, but actually fighting her is a pain in my ass because I don't really know how to fight her. And that's kind of my own fault, I understand. However, that's a solid C. That's a solid C for me because of the reasons that I said. She's super cool to look at. Not my favorite to fight, but she's just super badass, along with the abilities that she has. The Moon Presence. Now, the Moon Presence alone, for me, is an S because of like what you have to do to get the Moon Presence. It's an optional boss after Gehrman, so spoilers. A little late for that, I know, but spoilers. But the Moon Presence is the final boss of the original game, excluding the DLC. Because you need to activate 3 things in order to actually get it. And then when you kill him, it's just like a whole bunch of questions. I mean, which I'm assuming a lot of people now understand and know about, but I'm going to leave it up in the air for you guys to figure out if you want to. But Moon Presence is a super fast boss. For the size of it, super fucking fast. Has some gnarly attacks. Deals a ton of damage. And has one attack that quite literally leaves you at 1 HP. Thankfully, the Moon Presence is generous enough that after this attack, stuns him so that you can get your health back, which is the entire purpose. It's literally just for you to lose health, I feel like. That's the only purpose of that attack. But anyway, I love fighting him. I love fighting him because it's so hard to get to him that it's so rewarding whenever you're actually able to fight him and kill him. Because, unlike all of the other ones, I can see these guys every single playthrough. I can see these guys no problem. Like, they're nothing too crazy. The Moon Presence is something entirely different. I mean, granted, all of these are once per playthrough, but at the same time, the Moon Presence is so easily missable. It's so easily missable if you don't really understand how to do it. If you don't really know anything about the game, of course. Then it's really easy to miss this character. He's super badass to look at. Another Cthulhu monster. Like I said, I'll put the picture. But honestly, I just love how he looks. I love his fighting him. I just love the idea of what happens afterwards. And just everything about the Moon Presence is just super fucking cool to me. I just gotta be honest. Yeah, I just love this boss. Rom the Vacuous Spider. Rom, the Hardhead himself. Mr. Hardhead himself. Oh yeah, Moon Presence, Mr. Octopus. But anyway, I don't even remember if I named the other ones. The Margot's Wetness of Mrs. Faceless, and then the Daughter of the Cosmos is What the Fuck Am I Looking At? Like that. So, the next one is Rom the Vacuous Spider. Rom is not hard to fight. The boss fight, however, is annoying as hell. Because Rom is not that hard to fight. Like, if it was just you and Rom, it would be way easier. It would be such an easy boss fight. But no, he's got these little bastards running next to him, all around him, every single time he disappears. Which is 3 times. 2 times, by the way. He disappears, and every time he reappears, he summons more of these little bastards down from the sky that are way too powerful. They are way too fucking strong for how small they are. Like, oh my god, they're annoying. They're basically all smaller versions of Rom, except they're accurate to spiders, as if Rom isn't. But they are all of them are very strong. Like every single character, every single enemy in the boss fight is very fucking strong, including Rom, of course. But they're weak they're weak everywhere but their head. Their head, Mr. Hardhead himself. I blanked for a second, my bad. But the head is where you have to avoid, because that is like reinforced armor. That is reinforced fucking vibranium, whatever you call that. Because it's ridiculous. And you can whack away at it, no problem. It's just gonna take forever. They're weak against lightning because they are a celestial. Any cosmos celestial enemy in this game is weak to electricity for some reason. But regardless, I don't like Rom's boss fight because of that. The small enemies, the small spiders that he summons are really annoying. They're not super fun to attack because there's a lot of them that spawn. So if you're on the second or third stage, you have to not only dodge the little guys ganging up on you, but you have to dodge Rom as well, while you're also trying to dim the horde. So there's a lot of things going on in this fight, and I always end up dying into him more times than I care about. So it's just like it's just a pain in the ass. It's just a pain in the ass. Ludwig the Holy Blade. Now, this boss fight is awesome because of the weapon that you get, which is the Holy Moonlight Sword, which is amazing. It's a super, super cool sword. It is arcane. Yes, it's an arcane weapon, but it's also just a giant sword. So do with that as you will. But regardless, I don't like fighting him. He's a super cool lore. He's a super cool lore boss fight. A boss. And his sword is amazing. And his voice lines and just like what they say about him is awesome. I hate fighting him. He's so annoying. He's so annoying. Because he's just so... His first stage... I'll say that. His first stage is the fucking worst. Because he's incredibly strong. Like, everybody in the Old Hunters DLC is incredibly powerful. And Ludwig is no exception. He's a giant fucking horse creature. Ram creature. I don't even know what to call him. That can one-shot you easily every single time. And it's just so hard. Because honestly, after the second stage is still pretty difficult. But at the same time, he's more predictable. Because he moves like a person. He doesn't move like an animal. Which in this first stage, he's on all fours. Just like absolutely going ham. But for the weapon and for Ludwig himself, I gotta give him a B. Because of that. Like, I hate fighting him every time. But man, is he's just really cool. He's just really cool. Let me get water real quick. Okay. So, I'm gonna try to wrap this up. I don't really care if this goes on for 40 minutes to 50 minutes. I don't really care. I like doing longer videos because that means I can talk more. But anyway, we're gonna be moving on. The Orphan of Kaz. The Orphan of Kaz. The Bastard. That's his nickname, is the Bastard. I truly believe he is the #1 hardest boss in Bloodborne. I believe that's unanimously decided. Because I could not think of any other boss that can top Orphan of Kaz. Like, Moon Presence, maybe? Like, Lawrence, maybe? For me personally, Lawrence sucks. I hate him. He's like the Cleric Beast, but just on fire. But anyway. The Orphan of Kaz is a monster, I can only say, of a beast that has so many different attacks and also has so much range from close to long to medium. The power is immense, the speed is stupid, but my god, do you feel amazing after killing him. He's definitely one of those bosses like, oh my god, I actually fucking did it. Because my god, this guy. I don't know what it is about him. I mean, obviously, he's difficult. That's what it is. He's just a difficult fucking boss. But I don't know what the lore is, but I believe a Great One. Oh, that's what they're called, the Great Ones. A Great One died and washed ashore, and then he came out of him. He, she, whatever the hell you want to label Kaz as. Came out of the Great One and then is just like chilling, just standing there like, okay, what do I do now? And uses his umbilical cord that has a convenient scythe attached to it as his weapon of choice, which, you know, good for him. It's a very, very hardcore skill-based boss fight. Like, you have to know how to play the game to kill him easily. You can easily kill... that's an understatement, I'm sorry. But you can kill him with trial and error. but you have to learn his patterns. Like, that's his huge thing. You have to learn how to fight him. Because, oh my god, he broke me. I was doing a no lantern run. I did the first part fine. I literally cleared the first part of Bloodborne with no lanterns. The DLC couldn't do that. I couldn't do that specifically because of cause. It was awful. But anyway, after that, he's definitely an S. He's 100% an S boss fight because of just like how everyone is so terrified of him. Everyone knows how much of a pain in the ass he is. Not because he's boring to fight, but because of how fucking bullshit he is to fight. And I love that. I love a boss that really makes me like, okay, I have to get good in order to kill him. And I love that. I love it when a boss can do that to me. Much like this next one. Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower. The beautiful Lady Maria. The Blood Princess Lady Maria. Amazing woman. Amazing woman. She is my favorite boss fight in the entire game, period. She is my favorite boss fight in the entire game, period, because she is so fucking badass. Her attacks are incredibly stupid and powerful, like I will admit, but I have a way of cheesing her. Like, for any first-time Bloodborners out there, if you find the Beast Roar, which looks like a claw, use that on her. Just literally rinse and repeat that on her. You roar, get your stamina back up, attack her. You roar, get your stamina back up, attack her. So you're fine. The boss fight is almost over. However, that does not mean that she's easy. She has a lot of health. She's beefy. She can and will one-shot you happily. And she has normal attacks. She has blood attacks. And then she has blood fire attacks, which is not uncommon because the Abyss Watchers did that as well. But then again, that came afterwards. However, that is exactly... And she's just so cool. She's just so elegant. She's just so, like, fucking beautiful. And I don't know. Like, Lady Maria is just a fantastic boss fight because she's human form. She's human-sized. So that way, it's just, like, that much more intense. Because, like I said before, whenever I fight bosses that are human-sized, which the Orphan of Cause is one of the human sizes, it's a lot more intense. It's a lot more intimate because you're not looking up trying to, like... You're, like, looking right at them like, okay, you have to pay attention because they're human-sized. They're not this giant 50-foot arm coming down. There's someone that's exactly able to move much just like you. So you have to, much like Orphan of Cause, you have to get good as well because Lady Maria will fuck your shit up. She will happily fuck your shit up and look pretty beautiful as she's doing it. Living Failures. This is I don't know how to feel about this boss fight because it's not fun. I don't have fun fighting him because they're just in the way of me and Lady Maria being together happy. But I don't know. I don't consider the Living Failures as a fun boss fight, but at the same time, it's not a stupid one either, you know? It's not unfair. It's not boring. Oh, well, yeah, it's not boring because there's a lot of them. Like multiple, as you can see down here, multiple of them can spawn in at a time and basically attack you. A lot of them have magic. A lot of them also just straight up beat the shit out of you with their hands. And it's kind of, it's another one of those boss fights where you have to like be aware of everyone at all times. And thankfully they all collectively share a health bar. So you can kill one and then another one spawns in, but they all share one health bar. So you can literally, if you're good enough, I'm not, but if you're good enough, you can literally farm one of them and then the boss fight's over. So that's definitely a really good way to handle that if you know how to do that. But overall, as a boss fight, they're not super cool. I always forget about them until I actually have to fight them. Like as soon as I get to the library, the school, whatever it is, the insane asylum, if you would. I always forget about them until I get to that area and I'm like, oh yeah, they're next. And then I have to deal with that. So not super fun, not my favorite, not cool to look at. The only cool thing is their one giant attack, their giant AoE attack. That's the only cool thing about this fight. Other than that, it's whatever. Lawrence the First Vicar. Yes. Yes. Okay, yes. That's so blurry. I don't know why. They should have chose a bigger font or something. I don't know. But anyway, Lawrence is the exact same boss fight as Cleric Beast, except he is on fire, does more damage, And there is a second phase where you literally chop him in half and his legs are gone. And then he's literally trailing a magma lava pool that you can't step on and that does linger. That he like is able to just, he's very mobile for being on with no legs. But he's still as strong without legs. And he's just as annoying. And he has anybody who plays Elden Ring and knows about the magma worm, that attack that like just storms at you, that's probably where they got it. Lawrence is probably where they got that attack, because he does that all the fucking time. I don't like him. I really don't like him because I just don't know how to fight him. However, he's really cool to look at because he's a cleric beast. Cleric beasts are just super cool to look at. In that case, he gets a C. He gets a B, I mean. Because like I don't like the fight. I don't like fighting him because I said I'm not good at fighting him. But that does not take away from the fact that he's a badass and he looks amazing. And I believe he is part of the lore with Master Willem, which is like one of them chose blood, one of them chose celestial cosmos, and there's a lot of lore that you can figure out yourself. But he's super cool to look at, and I'll give him that. So now we are going into the Chalice Dungeons. Now, these are lads that you don't see anywhere else other than in the Chalice Dungeons. And they're not super cool. Like, they're okay. Like, because the thing about all of these bosses is that they just don't feel special, you know? They don't feel, granted, because they're all completely optional. They're all entirely optional. And that's where you get the Beast Claw along with a lot of other weapons and items. But it just doesn't seem fun. That they're just not fun. They're just not memorable. Like I'm looking at these and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about these guys. Like the Elder's cool. He's okay. He's got a pretty sweet moveset. He's a little bit bigger than human sized. He's fast and he has, I believe, that looks like a flaming scythe, which is not uncommon. A lot of these lads like fire and scythes. But he's okay. Nothing too crazy. Yarhnam Pthuru Queen. Now, for lore and just for playing the game itself, seeing her is really cool. So for her, I'm giving her an A, just because like you see her a lot in the game and don't know anything about her, and then you kill her, and then that's a fucking thing that you have to do. If you find her, of course. But she is an A easily because of just like, oh my god, I have to kill her after seeing her so many times in the game already. Just by spectacle, much like spectacle alone, she's as well a solid boss fight. She's not super cool. Her attacks are pretty okay. I'm like trying to remember her fight. I'm like, oh, it's been a while. It's been a while since I booted up my PS4. But regardless, she's okay. She's pretty cool. All of these guys, I want to rope into the same area. Just because I just feel the same about all of them. They're all okay. None of them are incredibly good. Like, all of these I know exactly. I know exactly how the boss fights are. I can close my eyes, picture all of them. These guys, no. Because they're just not that special. Like, there's nothing really meaningful about getting to them. Other than getting to the next area. Because that's what these bosses are. Granted, to be fair, that's exactly what they are. They're optional bosses in an optional area of the game that you don't need to access ever. However, that being said, none of these guys I think about when I'm thinking of Bloodborne. Whenever I think of Bloodborne, I think of all of these characters, including Yarhnam, Pthuru, the queen. I think of her as well. But all these lads, Lady Maria, Gehrman, Vicar Amelia, Mikolash for sure, Margot, I think of like literally all of these guys. I know about all of these guys. I've fought them so many different times. And then all of these guys are just kind of whatever. They're literally just kind of whatever. I don't hate them by any means, but they're all going to get roped into C because the fact that I forget about them, period, just isn't good for a boss fight. When you just completely forget about a boss fight entirely, until you get to them, it's like, oh, that's never good. That's never good. If the fucking Winter Lanterns were on this, they're not a boss fight, but my god, they should be. If the Winter Lanterns up here, they would easily be an S. They would easily be an S because they're that fucking ridiculous. I'll show you a picture of them if you want. I mean, you don't have a choice because I'm about to anyway. But yeah, like all of these guys, they're awesome. They're cool to look at, but it's nothing special. They're just basically a hurdle to get to the next area. Whereas all of these guys feel like they mean something. It's like, oh, that was awesome. That was really cool. With these guys, like, okay, well, I get to move forward now. In a way like that. So that was my tier list. That went a little longer than my Dark Souls 3 one, but hey, I love this game. I like to talk about it. Like all Souls games, I love talking about them. I may or may not do more of these depending on how people react to them and how people feel about them, because I know I just did the Dark Souls 3 one, but I just felt like doing this anyway because I liked it. Elden Ring might be a good one because Elden Ring I have fresh on the mind all the time. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, for being a part of the video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you have any comments about any of my rankings, then please feel free to tell me. Explain to me why Lady Maria is not an S ranking, even though she 100% is. I would love to know and hear about all of you guys' opinions about Bloodborne, because I love talking about this game, and I love this game in general. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. As always, drink your water and stay hydrated, because you need to keep that body healthy, especially during these trying times. Have a good morning, night, or afternoon, whatever it is. Have a good one. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And as always, I will see all of you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Bye-bye. Love you all, my dudes.